Hi everyone, so in this video we're going to create a really nice and smooth cat walking animation. So this is pretty much is clearly seen here in the browser. This is just a simple preview we're going to be creating here. So cat walks in and just like sits down or something. And yeah, you got a couple of different animations going to be introduced in here, a couple of different concepts you're going to be introducing, how to use like tile maps and like animation sheets to create such cool animation and other different animation you can pretty much create using this and add to your web pages. Why not? So yeah, I'm just gonna go into this kind of like CSS advanced things like steps function and so on and so forth, but nonetheless just like this for fun, and I love cats. Why not making a video tutorial about it? So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and let's just get started. So let's just get started, and here I already set up the actual project using VS Code. So you can pretty much use whatever code editor you would like to. I already set up a project. I created actually the folders and just a basic index.html file, which is going to represent our page, of course, and already initialized npm in here to work. So just like to have a package.json there, we're not going to be installing any dependencies whatsoever. So yeah, we won't pretty much need it that much, but just to have like, it's going to be like a node module or something. So it's more modernized to use package.jsons right now. It just like gives you more information about the project and who the author is and stuff like that. So yeah, nonetheless, this is actually the basic thing. I got in here just simple titles and meta tags, and it got like h2 for walking cat. And that is it, just like an ID in here for root. I already set up like an index.css. So we're mostly here for this tutorial. We're going to work using CSS, of course. I'm just going to type or create all the styles needed for the cat animation. So basically here we got the HTML on the body, and we got the roots. So here we just like setting up full width and full height. We got flex box, and here we got the directions column, and also we are centering all the items to all the center. So it's clear, see in here, we got the tags right into the center. Fair enough. And also here I created the container. So the container we're going to be using right here is pretty much actually just for containing the actual cat model. So just simple it is, and it has just a width for 100%. So that's basically what we have created so far here. Now the most important part we're going to be needing is actually for the animation. So for the animation we're going to be using a tile map. So if you don't know what's a tile map is just basically like specific tiles or different poses or frames of the cat or whatever character that goes through a specific animation. So for example, a cat is actually walking, so a sprite or pretty much a tile map for this walk cycle. So we get a different frames for different poses during the walk cycle of the cat. This way we can animate these poses or animate these tiles to get the smooth cat walking animation, or basically any other different animation, sitting, jumping, whatever, any different character. So we need this kind of tile. So I already got the tile, I already downloaded it, I already, did everything for you guys. So here's actually the tile. I can just show you more here because it's way much better. Here we got different animations. Clearly see we got the first one all the way to the left. So we got the walking animation, then we got cat sitting, then we got basically cats pretty much here's clearly see just jumping, and last but not least we got just cats running animation. So you can have different stuff you can animate throughout this, but this is mandatory. This is because this we're going to be using CSS to go ahead and animate this, because this is the only way around to do a real and realistic cat animation using all of different stuff in here. So you can grab this tiles PNG image from the GitHub repository. So just go down to the below description and go to the GitHub repository of this project, and you can grab the tiles and the full source code of this application once we finish with it. So yeah, that's basically all you need in here. So the cloud tiles, I'm just putting it inside of an assets folder, and yeah, pretty simple, pretty easy to work with. Now let's just get started right now, and what we're going to be needing is we want to use the tile. So here actually we got what we want here, display the actual animation in here, and we can add a different animation like moving cat, but the meantime we play the main animation, which is cat walking and then sitting or whatever. So we'll just start by creating the walking cat animation. So therefore we're going to be needing a couple of divs. First one, I'm going to be creating a div with a class as a container. So this is going to be the full container that takes the full width. So it's clearly in here I got a container that takes the full width. And yeah, that's basically what it is. Also, the other div in here, I'm just going to include, I'm just going to name it cat, as simple as that. And this one is going to represent this cat tile. So if each cat tile is going to be inside of this, cat, the whole animation and everything, this is where it will live for the rest of like the animation cycle. So that's basically it. I already, of course, forgot that, of course, you need to link your style sheet or CSS style sheet. So you have to put it right there. And the other thing, what I'm using here for live server, like live reload, once I just save, the browser updates automatically. I'm using live server extension from VS Code. So if any one of you would like to know, so this is actually running on port 5500. And yeah, so that's where it is. Inside of the SRC, we got the live server. Whenever we save, we got everything hot reload. So it just like automatically reloads to the page for us in the background. So pretty cool. So right now, let's just go and start and play with the animation real quick. So here I'm going to be just using the cat class, of course, what we did there. And for the cat class, what we need is actually only to focus about a specific thing. So we need to give it only the width or the height of a single tile. So what I mean by this, only give it the width and the height of this particular tile. Like for example, this is actually a single tile of the first pose of the animation. So it goes all the way like just this one. So we have to give it the width and the height of this to only display a single tile once, and then just cycle through all of these to play the animation. So this is basically how it works. We first just give it only just like a viewport of a single tile, then we just loop through all the poses or different frames in order to play this realistic animation. So yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be doing in here. I already did the calculation, so you can just grab whatever software or tool to do this calculation. So here what I got, for a single tile in here, just for the height, it has 200 pixels, and for the width, it has a 400 pixels. So that's basically what it is. And to know the information about the actual style sheet or the full tile, so we got here 1600 pixels in the width and 2591 pixels on the height. So that's basically what it is, and you can just do the math and get things right. It just like has all of that. So you can just divide in order to get a single tile. What you can do is you can grab pretty much the width of the whole here the tile sets, so the whole image, and just divide it by how many tiles you've got. For example, you've got 4, so you're gonna have 400. Of course, 1600 divided by 4. You're basically going to have 400, and so on and so forth. So that's basically what it is. Yeah, just simple math, and you can get the trick done. So let's just going to make the tile right now. So we got cat, width of 400 pixels, and the height, so you're going to be needed 400 pixels. Fair enough. And also, I'm just going to use a margin of just going to do 50 pixels. I'm just going to have auto and 0. So just like to have just like a margin from all sides, and just like an auto margin from the left and right, and that is it. Just simple as that. Just you can remove it, it's not mandatory or something. So yeah, it's not a big deal. So that's basically the tile, or the cat's animation tile I'm going to be using. This is the main container where all the magic happens. Now what we're going to need is actually, we need to define the actual animation. So defining animation in CSS3, of course, using keyframes. So we're going to be doing keyframes. I'm going to name this animation like walk animation. And here I'm just going to use to from, just like this, to from attributes. I'm not going to be using percent attributes like 0%, 50% whatsoever. It's because we only have 2 different life cycles, or only 2 different states to change between. That's basically what it is. So I'm just going to have from first, at least I'm going to have 2, okay? So here where we need to go, let me just grab the image back again, so for you to get the point. I need to go from all the way up. So this is only focused on the walking animation right now with the first one in here. So go all the way from the first, and just, go all the way to the one before the last. And here, if you just like count all the tiles, in general, this one should have 13, but for the walking animation, we've got only 12 tiles for the walking animation. So we've got 12 steps or 12 frames to go through. So that's basically what we need to go through. And of course, you have to pretty much know the position and the XY position of these tiles, because we're going to be using background position, like the CSS3 background position. So we have to know about that right here. So for example, here we got like the X and Y for this are pretty simple. So here we got 0 for x and 0 for y, then the x doesn't change. It always just like remains 0, but for the y it just decreases because for the CSS background position, so going all the way down means going on the minus axis in here, and yeah, it's just like going up goes on the positive axis and so on and so forth. So here we just go all the way down to the minus, and you remember how much we got of the width. So if you take a look on the height of this, so for example the image properties, so we got a height of 2591 pixels, and we got a missing tile at the end. So we have only 12, we don't have like 13, which means we're gonna stop on the tile just like before ending the image, which means we're gonna just like subtract 200 pixels because each tile height is 200 pixels. We don't have last tile, so you do the math. So just like subtract to 1, so we got 2391 pixels. So pretty simple. Now let's just start here by doing background position. So we got background position, and for this it needs an x and y, first the x and then the y. So it's a 0 0, just going from, because we start all the way at the beginning. And for the last, so we got background position, and we still 0, but we go minus 2391. So remember the math and make sure to include the pixels, otherwise it won't work perfectly. And that's basically it. That's the super simple animation you need to go through, just for all the way from the top down to the bottom, and just looping through all the tiles to get this like walking cycle animation goes through. So yeah, pretty simple. Now let's go ahead and create a different class that's just going to include this animation inside, and we're going to of course include this background. So if you don't include this background, it won't work. It won't know like what background position or what background context we are looking for. So yeah, we have to do that. Here I'm just gonna name this class walking. Pretty simple. And here I'm just gonna include the animation. So make sure if you're like pretty much including or working this project on like a bare minimum CSS, and you want to just have this project working on different browsers, that of course you're not using like a new modern CSS generation or post CSS tool that helps you generate a new CSS and does prefixes for your generation. So yeah, make sure to do all the prefixes for different browsers. But for now, we're only using Chrome, and Chrome does that perfectly. So I'm going to be worrying about putting one right now. And here for the animation, I'm going to use the walk animation. So just include the walk animation. So this is pretty much the first attribute once you go to the CSS animation. So you just like define the animation name or the keyframes name. Second, you give us pretty much the duration of how much this animation is going to take. So for example, I'm just going to make it take 2 seconds. And here we give it actually the function, or pretty much the timing function that the animation needs to go through. Here is actually pretty much the trick. We need to use the steps function, which helps us to go one step at a time. So on each frame, we go a single step, which means we can loop as many steps as we want. And here, since we got like 12 frames for the walking animation, so we can go 12 steps in order to play the animation accordingly. So each frame of a second, we just play a single frame here, and we just go through it just like one by one until the end. So that's basically how we need to work with it. So I'm just going to do steps, and so here I'm going to include 12, and here the last one is pretty much how many times you need to cycle the animation or repeat this animation. And for now, I'm just going to make it infinite. And yeah, so just like infinitely repeat the animation, pretty simple. Now the other important part, we have to include the background. So I'm just going to do background image. So you can do background image, or you can just use the background, include the URL. Now tell it where it is. So we have to go inside of assets and cattiles.png. Now pretty simple, pretty easy to work with. I'm just going to also do no repeats, since we don't want to repeat that. And also here you can specify the position. So the background position, just like initial background position, just going to put 0, 0 for both the X and Y. So yeah, it's pretty simple to go through, not a really complicated thing to worry about. So let's save that. We've got the walking class in here. So to apply this animation, if we go back here right now, so basically we got nothing because we're not including any classes whatsoever. So to do so, we have to include the class right in here. So instead of like you know, alongside the cat class, we have to include the walking class for applying the animation. So if we go back in here, and voila, so pretty much we're doing a wrong math, I think, and we got two tiles being played out for us. That's no reason, I don't know why. So here we got 2391 point pixels, and here actually we got the height 400 pixels. I should have put 200. Yeah, I'm super dumb. But anyways, so yeah, there we go. We got the animation pretty much working as we expected it to be, in a pretty simple manner. So as you see, the cat just endlessly goes and walks just throughout the browser. We don't have any moving animation, which means we are not moving the cat throughout the page. It just like walks on its place, which doesn't really look that realistic. You can add a moving animation to make it more better. So yeah, here the animation looks pretty well made up. And the whole animation smoothness depends pretty much on the tile sheet, on the animation sheet you pretty much include. So if you have like a really bad animated sheet in here or fragmented sheet, you're not gonna have this awesome animation. But for this, it looks pretty well made up. So yeah, the class or the cat here is working perfectly. Now let's add some movement to it and just like some moving animation to it to make it more realistic. So here I'm going to include another class. I'm just going to make it move in, or pretty much just move, okay? And this move class, I'm going to be applying this class to the actual container. So the container is going to have like a margin, and I'm just going to apply this margin to it. And here I'm going to create a keyframes for it. So let's do keyframes move animation. And therefore I'm going to do from background position. Well, we're not be using any background position, so we're going to be using pretty much the margin to do so. So I can do margin. So let's see. So we want it to come all the way from the left, or all the way from the right to go to the left. So from the right to left, and so we want to have some margin from left, and it just decreases over time. So what we're going to be doing is margin left is I'm gonna have like 105%, and here it just like goes margin left 0. Pretty simple. Also make sure to include right here where is that overflow X to be hidden. Otherwise, if you just like apply this animation, you're gonna get this like horizontal scroll bar, which is super annoying, and you don't want to need to care about that. Just like include overflow X to hide the horizontal overflow, and you are good to go. And yeah, there you go. So let's include this animation here. I'm just gonna do animation, move animation. I'm gonna have this goes for pretty much, let's see, about, okay, let's do 4 seconds. And yeah, I'm gonna be having it to go infinite. So yeah, let's include this class. So inside of the container, I'm gonna do move. I think, yeah, it's the same name. And there you go. So we got the cat moving in here. It's clear to see it comes all the way from the right side and just stops into the middle. It doesn't go to the left because we're not adding the margin. And at some point it looks pretty realistic. So we can decrease or pretty much increase the duration. So we can have this to go 5 pixels or 5 seconds, sorry. And yeah, it looks way much better right now. Like 5.5, I think it would do a better job. Yeah, definitely it does. So yeah, let's include some margin so it goes all the way to the left, and that would be way much better. So here we can do like minus 105%. So it goes all the way from the right to all the way to the left. So there you go. It doesn't hide out, so I want to hide out, then it started all over from the right. Like it goes across the browser. It just like looks a really sick thing. So for this, I'm gonna have like 110. I think here we can have 100. Okay, let's see, 107. Okay, it goes all the way to the left. Then it just like hides. It doesn't hide perfectly, so I can make this 120. So alright, goes all the way there. So then it just comes out of here. Okay. Alright, it looks way much better. You can pretty much increase this to make it 120, and just to make it look realistic, like it goes through the browser and it just comes all the way from it. So yeah, it looks pretty sick animation. It's just like infinite, so it never stops. The cat keeps walking through the browser endlessly. So yeah, it looks amazing for me, this cool animation. Now yeah, another combination we can pretty much apply. So if we take a look on the tile sheet, the second animation in here is actually the cat just walks a little bit, just slowly walks, then just sits down. Okay, this really cute black cat, yeah, eventually sits down and just like staring at you. So we can pretty much play the first animation, walks in, then afterwards, after a delay, we can just pretty much play this sit animation. So let's do this real quick. We can go back to the index.html. Let me just move in or remove the move here. So we don't want it to move again. And I'm going to create an old keyframes, okay? So I think for this keyframes, well, yeah, I'm going to be using the keyframes. I'm going to create all the sitting keyframes where it comes and it sits down. So I'm just going to do from and have it go all the way to. So I'm gonna copy this background position, okay? It goes all the way from pretty much 0, 0, as it always does. But this kind, the X won't be 0 because we just shifted by 400 pixels. Each tile is 400 pixels, so we shifted to the right by 400 pixels. So we start here at 400 pixels, and the Y, say, it always remains 0 because we are starting all the way to the top. So yeah, pretty cool. And as well the same as the Y position, so the X as well is actually on the minus axis, so you have to include the minus there, and minus 400 pixels. So background, yeah, I meant the negative axis there. I'm sorry if you're just like, you know, playing game of words pretty much. Anyway, so here from 400 pixels and we go all the way down. But remember how many tiles we got? We got only 2, 4, and 6. So we got 6 tiles, not 12. So you can do the math of 6 tiles. Each tile is 200. So 6 times 200, you pretty much get like pretty much 12,000 or 1200 pretty much. So yeah, pretty simple. We can go to stay the same X position, but here we go minus 1200 pixels. Okay. Pretty cool. I should do a better job right now. And here I forgot to name this. So just like sets animation. Yeah, there we go. Now we can create another class for the set animation to pretty much work. So setting, and we can include animation to this. So I can do set animation, and I can have it to be on 2 seconds. And for the steps, since we only got like 6 frames, remember we only got 6 frames for this animation, so we only have to go 6 steps into it, then repeat the animation. So this is pretty much the function of steps. It only does the steps you give it, like how many steps you give it, like for example 6. It goes through this 6 and it plays the animation 6 times, then you repeat the animation. So here the 6th number is actually pretty much the maximum cycles or the maximum frames. So you have to go through 6. And for the infinite, well, I'll just play infinite right now. It doesn't do that much of harm. So we can just gonna replace the walking right now to check out if it just like it sits down or not. Where is this? So I completely lost. Yeah, I forgot about something. I forgot about including the background. So make sure to do so, otherwise it won't work. And there you go. So we got here the cat just comes slowly, then it sits down. Now we want to pretty much go walk the cat, then eventually sits down. That's basically what it is. Just like have it just walks down a little bit, then it just slows down, then he sits down and just like stares at us with his just nice eyes. So yeah, pretty simple. Let's go ahead and add this. So for this one, I'm going to be adding a brand new class in here. I'm going to make it like walking or walk then sit, okay? And it's pretty much going to have the same thing in here. It's going to have the same background and everything. but only for the animation we want to play two simultaneous animation, one after the other. So it walks first, then it stops, then it just like plays the sit down animation. For this I'm gonna do walk animation normally. I'm gonna have it running for like 2 seconds. For the steps it's gonna be the same, so I got 12 for the steps. And here pretty much we can do it once, so it only runs once. Then we have a comma to introduce the other animation that plays the same time with the walking animation. So we want it to like play the sit animation, have 2 seconds. But for this, the trick is actually we want to delay the sit animation to be played after 2 seconds. So since this, it takes 2 seconds to finish, so we have to put a delay of 2 seconds this to start in order to get this, like the animation is continued, or like pretty much, you know, together, working together between the walking animation and the sit animation. So we have 2 seconds in here and delay, and I can pretty much make this 3 seconds for the sit-in. For the steps, again, we got 6, and you can have 1. Alright, so we can go back in here and just like walk, then 6. If we go with this, clearly see it walks, then it sits down. Alright, so if you refresh that, it won't just work because you have to refresh it. I don't know, let's see. I think this is pretty much the delay, and this is how much it takes. So let's see again. Alright, it works right now. So refresh that again, so you see the cat walks slowly, then it just like slowly stops and just sits down. Pretty well made up. You can of course include or introduce the movements. So you can do move. But here for the movement, since we already make it go all the way from the right to the left, what I want to do is pretty much just decrease this and make it 0, so it just like sits down in the middle. So we don't want it go all the way to the left. So it's clearly seen here. Yeah, alright. So there you go, it just moves in and it just sits down, okay? It's kind of like, you know, at some point it doesn't look that perfect. Obviously you have to tweak some things in here, or you have to introduce new tiles to the style sheet. But nonetheless, yeah, it looks pretty amazing. It does a really good job. And of course you can use, or pretty much go ahead and practice on other ones. Like this one is a running animation, or you can go through the jumping animation. Yeah, it will look absolutely amazing. But without further ado guys, hope you guys have enjoyed this video tutorial. Just like wanted to make it really simple, really nice, and just like give you this different animation kind of technique, and just like do something odd and something creative out of the box. So just like a cat animation, and since everyone loves cats, including me of course, so yeah, making a cat animation would make me pretty much just enjoy the rest of the day. So anyways guys, thank you guys for watching. As I said before, hope you guys have enjoyed the video tutorial. If you like this video tutorial, make sure to like subscribe. Why not? I see a lot of you watching content just like not subscribed. And the other thing, don't forget about the like button, because it means a lot to me. And yeah, you can just like, you know, give me this enjoyment of seeing you loving this video. So yeah, without further ado guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you all in the next ones.